This week on Indiana Show.
That's so gay.
I don't know how to make it less gay. This week on...
Make it more gay.
This week on Indiana Show. What's the best sport you've ever found?
I'm quite fond of women's volleyball.
It's a creepy thing to say, isn't it?
No, that's misogynist. I like it because it's a very competitive, highly skilled...
He doesn't.
I can't see that.
He's from Christchurch.
Christchurch?
Yeah. In...
Fairly local?
New Zealand.
Oh.
My God. That was a calamity, wasn't it?
It was a bit
I
of a
mean,
calamity.
I don't know what we do now because we just spent an hour and a half setting up.
It's quite deflating.
It
when
really is.
You're like, okay, let's start, and then an hour and a half later after
We
tech
got
issues.
the coldest coffee I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, maybe we should have made a fresh coffee before we started.
Maybe. You know what they say. Can I show you this?
Bright light cities, corpse of my soul, corpse of my soul, on fire. Got a whole lot of money that's ready to burn, so little stakes shot high. There's 1,000 pretty women waiting
am I
up
watching?
and they all live.
What's Elvis, isn't it?
And I just
Is this a music video?
It's just a little
Is
little
it,
fun
is it
overdub,
like a
isn't it?
music video, or
I think that's a music video he's done,
yeah,
and then
he's-
someone's overdubbed it
Oh,
to put the
I
sound
I
accurate.
thought maybe it was like
Oh,
him filming the music
no.
video, and obviously he doesn't want to sing, but he has to like lip sync or
It
whatever.
doesn't
so
look
he's
like that.
So he's singing it.
Now I hope it's that. Were those real Elvis sounds? I don't think.
And he's
so.
just being all
Let's
silly.
do it. There we go.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, thought you'd like that.
That's everything for this week.
We'll see you next week. I'm gonna ask you a question. Guess what me and Becky got up to last night, and I'll tell you now. We're on the podcast. It's clearly safe for work. Any guesses? We did something. I would constitute surprising. Which would allude to it being no.
Were you playing Jet Wash Simulator?
We weren't. She actually, to be fair though, I will say she did play a little bit of House Flipper 2, which I got her for Christmas. But no, it wasn't that. It was something on the TV.
You watched TV.
We watched TV. That's not what's surprising. Do you know what we watched last night?
Debbie Does Dallas?
Yeah. No, we watched the darts.
Oh, yeah, I watched the darts. I was going to bring it up.
Here's the thing about the darts. I've never thought it's that interesting.
No,
really.
it's
Like
good.
and as
Even
kids,
back in the day when Thilda
right,
Power
this is the thing,
Taylor was
as
knocking
kids,
about.
it used to be on the TV a lot. I never was like massively into it. We put the darts on because obviously the big story at the moment is Luke Littler, who let's be honest, there's not anything little about that little lad. He's 16, but he looks like he's 32.
He's a middle-aged builder, isn't he?
It's insane. I don't understand it at all.
He's literally like the guy from In-Betweeners, the episode where he's working in the mechanic.
yeah.
Doing his work experience.
And he's just got like a 40-year-old.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to your prom. He's like, yeah, I'm 17.
100% that. But I put it on, and immediately both me and Becky were like, "This is fucking exciting. This is really exciting."
Yeah, it was a good game as well. I mean, he kind
Bit of a shame.
He lost his.
Maybe
Not bottled it. I mean, you can't. It's a bit unfair to say a 16-year-old and the World Darts Championship final bottled it.
against the like
But
future number one.
I think what it shows is that at 16, even when, because there's no doubt he showed that he's capable of being one of the best darts players in the world, right?
Yeah.
Some of the finishing, he's just knocking out 170s left, right, and
170s, yeah.
yeah.
You see a 170 and you're like, oh, he's gonna have this.
Yeah, but I think what it showed is that at 16, the one thing that it's hard, even at the highest level, is consistency.
Yeah.
Like Luke Humphreys was just consistent.
Which apparently he's from Newbury.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just down the road. Don't know why that's important.
The only thing I don't like about it is I think some of the darts has got really weird over like recent times, like with booing. Like the booing has got out of control. Like it's a tough watch sometimes when like someone like Fallon Sherrock, Fallon Have I got that wrong way around?
Fallon is the first name.
Yeah, Fallon
I'm
Sherritt.
certain. Yeah.
Might be.
The lady.
But she was legitimately really good, right? She earned her way into the sort of finals, whatever. But like whoever she was up against was just getting absolutely demolished, right? And there's a funny side to it, but then at the same time, there's also just like it's a bit
of a disrespect.
Like it was well, it's one of those things where it's like it's funny at first, but then after a while, watching it from home, not in the atmosphere, it's like. It's a bit boring. It's just a bit boring to hear them boo.
I think
like every time someone steps up to the hockey now. Unless it's warranted, like unless they're like,
they're like,
or they're just like the absolute biggest toss pot on the planet, then I get it.
Yeah,
but it's just a bit of a shame, and it was like Luke Humphrey's first World Championship.
I have to say,
like
so
he's now he's now number 1 in the world ranked, and it's like. No one really gave it a shit, and it was like it's a bit. I don't know. It's a bit of me. It's a bit.
I have to say, I'll say for the 5th time, but you let me say. I have to say it.
Now, once I get it wrong, mate.
I know. I think last night I was watching it, and I was rooting for Luke Littler, right? And there were moments where, like, okay, Humphreys needs to mess this up. For Littler to stay in, and the crowd would get on it, and everything was pressure. And for that part of it, I was like, I think that's just part of the sport, right? Of any sport, you have to deal with the crowd. There was a moment, a very brief moment towards at the end when he had won it, where they give the second place trophy, place erupts, right? And I was like, this is emotional to watch. This is really touching, and that was great. And then when they started giving the winner presentation, there was a little glimmer of boos, and I was like, oh, please don't make that. And I don't think they did. I think the rest of the crowd then drowned that out with cheering for him and celebrating the moment. So I think he got to have the moment. He has to know this is the biggest story in darts that's ever happened, right? Like Becky watched it, my wife. She hates sports. Every time I put football on, she's like, oh, which of these teams is Charlton? And what she's saying is, why are you watching a team that you don't support play football? That's her attitude. But she watched the darts.
Women don't get that.
They don't get that.
They don't get that. It's not about whether we support the team.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you just want to watch Man City versus Liverpool.
Here's the thing, and that's the thing, right? The tops you do when it's like Aston Villa versus Everton. Are those two Prem teams?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know. Look, I follow League One, and I've got a Football Manager save with you that's like
you can't trust that. Charlton are in the Prem now.
Are they?
Not anymore. In our save.
They weren't.
No, they are.
They are.
I took Brentford to the Champions League.
Yeah, that's true. I can still make the Europa League be. But it's a tall ask. Anyway, I can't remember where I was going. No, but so I think so. Even she's disengaged.
Yeah, but do you remember that time we watched that weird, like Gaelic football?
Yeah, I don't think any of us got into that. To be fair,
you ever looked up Gaelic football? Watch a game. I don't know what's going on. It's like they've gone. Someone out there has gone. Do you know what? I like every sport ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's just
have them play it.
Yeah. All in one game.
I think. What's the best sport you've ever found? Because I enjoyed. Is it
beach volleyball,
ice football, or whatever it's called, where it's
women's volleyball
on ice?
I'm quite fond of women's volleyball.
It's a creepy thing to say, isn't it?
No,
that's
misogynist.
That's like when you ask someone.
I like it because it's a very competitive, highly skilled.
He doesn't. That's like when you ask someone what superpower you want, and they say invisibility.
Have you ever seen like the women's like NFL?
No.
Oh, look it up, man.
I think that just happened though. Wasn't there a big thing? A new league has launched or something?
I don't know if it is just the women's NFL or if there is
NFL. Oh no! You're on about a different thing.
I don't know if it is just women's NFL or if there's a sexy women's NFL. Yeah. Either way, my God, I don't know what's going. They're just wearing thongs, B.
Yeah. Well, and they're selling tickets.
Big shoulder pads still, which is weird. But
yeah. No one's throwing big hits in that league. Let's be honest. But they sell tickets, so
well, yeah.
Can you argue with it? And also, no women want to play American football.
And I guarantee, right, there's no sort of equal pay, like disparity there. Like if they must be earning a lot.
I don't think it's a
Like
lot.
the league, I know, because there's a lot of creepy dudes out there.
That's true. They've got season tickets.
Yeah.
And also, I think there's certain people that would go to that sport. They have no interest in the sport, and it's like they'll just pay whatever. They're like, how much is season tickets? Like 20 grand. Okay, done.
But like you just like misheard what I said earlier. Yeah, the women's hockey league has just started.
That's just kicked off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit weird though. Because they've rushed into it, right? Because I think all the players, they didn't want to wait another year to start, but it meant essentially they've started and the league isn't really ready.
Right.
They don't even have names.
Oh.
The teams don't have. I don't know if you looked into it. The teams don't have names.
I don't understand
They're
at
just.
all.
It's just like District New York.
It's like fucking Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. So
District
none of
13.
the teams. So like the New York team is just called like, I can't remember what they've. It might be District. I can't remember, or like Team New York. So like they don't even have like merch or anything. They don't have like a brand behind any of the franchises.
It's so stupid.
So they've launched this league and it's just not ready to be launched at all. But like I think they've played one game so far. New York won their first.
New York won. They got shut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 4-0 or something.
It's really weird because does this bring...
And the highlights I've seen, sorry to interrupt, the highlights I've seen, pretty physical.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like because I've seen women's hockey in the past has just been mind-numbingly boring, and it's because it's not a skill thing. It's just it is naturally slower, right? I'm not delusional. We don't going to be deluded about this, right? Massive difference between men and women's sport.
Yeah.
But the thing that made it really hard to watch was just the lack of physicality. Like it was like watching Pee Wee.
They're all wearing.
It wasn't even Pee Wee because like I've seen some Pee Wee hockey clips where they're like killing each other.
Oh yeah.
But it was just a bit weird. But this one seemed a bit more physical. And I don't know whether it's a choice for them to all be in full cages,
or
whether it's
I
like
think that's league
required.
rules.
But then I don't know why. Why are you forcing them?
I think that was my point. Is that like
they're like adults that want to play sport? They should be able to not have a full face.
When it's, I think the Olympics, a lot of people were watching the women's ice hockey, and that was full cage. But then you're watching it, and you're like, but no contact, and also, like, without being a dick, no one's getting the puck off the ice. So I don't. It's like watching 70s hockey. Like they didn't wear helmets. Yeah, that's because no one got it off the ice. Because you have to put your body weight on the stick and fucking twang it.
Yeah, back in the wooden sticks.
Yeah. So it didn't matter that they didn't have helmets on.
That's the other thing as well. They've rushed this league in so quickly. I think the rules, like the official rules for the league, only got like released. I think like 4 days before the first game.
They were in fucking training, just reading books.
Like literally, it's crazy.
I think, and here's the issue, right? And you mentioned there's obviously there's a biological difference we can argue with. This will probably get fucking flagged on YouTube, but there's a biological side. Then there's a side of like, is it nature versus nurture? Maybe of like when you have a boy at 2, right? Max is obsessed with football at the moment, so he's kicking balls constantly. He keeps practicing his other foot, his left foot. So he's kicking with the left foot, scoring goals. We go every single day. He's kicking a ball for like 3 or 4 hours, right? And it's just there's so many studies and data that show that boys like things and girls like caring. Girls like people,
and
right?
I'll extend an olive branch. That's not like everyone.
No, not at all.
There are like the
There'll,
opposite can happen.
There'll be boys that want to be nurses.
When you're talking about statistics and generalization, it's very, very clear.
So the problem we have is that now there is a big push to be like, okay, girls can play sports too. I know parents whose daughters are getting into football and playing in goal, and it's like, that's just one particular example. They're playing boys football as a goalie. They were like, I want to be a goalie, and it's fucking awesome. That's great, because that's how you get insanely good at a sport, right? That's how you get the level of talent that we see in the Premier League or in professional football, whatever it might be. That's the missing piece.
Lewis Hamilton is one of the best race drivers on the planet because he's been go-karting since he was like 4.
He'll have millions of laps under his name. So that's the problem, is that the interest needs to be there, and we're now working on making the interest there, and that's why like the W series in motorsport, so we had Formula 1 and there's no women in Formula 1, because that's the best drivers, right? You're talking tens of millions of pounds on the line for all of the races you do. It's important, and so the best people get on there. The W Series launched and failed because it didn't make enough money. It wasn't commercially viable. But it was a good thing because more women got into racing. And then ultimately what happens is, and this is the problem, in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years' time, you'll have a generation of people that are inspired by what's happening now. But the problem is, it's kind of treated as, like that, you've just said, they launched a women's hockey league, right? So this is supposed to be women, I would say the top, right? The amount of publicity it's getting, this is the top level for women. But they've launched it before it's even ready, because it doesn't matter about having everything right or having the right level of skill. It's just about everyone needs to support this thing. And this is what we're seeing in women's football as well, is that if you critique women's football, we just had a World Cup happen like 6 months ago or something, and it was atrocious. The level of football was shocking. You can watch 8th, 9th, 10th tier men's football and you wouldn't see any of the mistakes that were happening. Every single game was dictated by goalie mistakes, defenders scoring own goals, just absolute shambles. And then what you have is you have like 3 or 4 women that are very good that just completely dominate. So like at the moment, the problem is you're forced to be like, you have to like this thing, you have to support it, which you can support it, but you can also be like, we're a long way away at the moment. And then until you get to the point where there are women in Formula One, which maybe in 10, 15 years, I think we could be.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if in like 10 years there isn't a woman that has naturally progressed into Formula One.
Yeah, but the problem will be is if in 3 years a woman is put, like Tatiana Calderon was an example that happened 4 or 5 years ago.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen for a long time, because I think that did damage to women's motorsport.
Yeah.
Like just putting like Calderon, what was her name?
Calderon, I
putting
think.
Calderon into F3, was it?
She raced in F2 for a season.
Was the biggest mistake that anyone has made for women's motorsport, because she was so
She's
slow.
laughably bad.
Yeah, like not even compare. Wasn't she like a second and a half slower a lap?
Yeah,
on average or something.
I think so.
Like it was ridiculous, and like that. There's no argument there. That's just like that's embarrassingly slow.
Yeah.
And that doesn't do women's motorsport any good.
But
Because all it does is give the people that don't want to see women in sport the ammunition they need to be like, well, to gatekeep women out of sport.
I think the other problem we have though as well, and this is where it gets a bit tricky, we talk about the W Series. So the W Series in its existence was only ever won by one person, which is Jamie Chadwick. She was the best. She's the best female driver we've seen ever, really. But there's no metric as to how she would compete against, let's say, Hulkenberg, right? Or Roman Grosjean, or anyone like that, because she's just been in her bubble in the W Series. And that was the problem. She won it twice in a row. Then the 3rd season, she committed to that. And everyone was like, go and do F3 or F2 and show what your pace actually is. But it was safer and more commercially viable to stick on that side of it. I don't know. That's
a bit like when Scott Parker left Charlton to go to Chelsea.
Yeah, he sat on the bench. He took the quick bucks, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'm still mad at that. I had a pair of...
Well, at least his managerial career is not...
What was his boot sponsor? Was it Joma, maybe?
Joma. Well, Joma was our kit sponsor.
He had a pair of boots, and I got a pair of boots for, like, my birthday, football boots, because they were Scott Parker's. I got them. Like, my birthday's January the 8th, and in the January transfer window, he fucked off to Chelsea, and I was left with these shit boots.
Yeah,
they weren't good boots.
They were Jomas.
Everyone had Nikes and Adidas, and I was asking for fucking Jomas. I've never forgiven him for that.
The power of sponsored football boots, man.
No, I won't tell you what I did to be like Chrissy Powell.
Oh,
no, I just wore number 3, didn't I? Anyway, that's enough about sports, I guess. Is it?
No, because I was gonna bring up. Have you seen that? It's bad news for I think every Formula One fan. I feel like this is the only thing Formula One fans like agree on, right? And that is the fact, right, that Danica Patrick. Right,
I did see this.
Is just the worst pundit on TV.
Yeah.
Right? There are a lot of candidates actually that could sort of battle it out, but she's one of the worst pundits ever, right? She's been renewed. She's confirmed for 2024, baby, Sky Sports. So they sure as hell don't give a crap about fan feedback.
It's a really interesting move because everyone dislikes her, right? Everyone knows she speaks bollocks. Like absolute, but she speaks nonsense the entire time.
It's so bizarre, right? Because she's got and this is what I always say, right? Having experience isn't the most important thing, right? For a pundit, you need them to have the experience because they need to be able to give insight as to what's happening, right?
Can I say
but
one
having
thing?
experience doesn't automatically mean you should be on telly.
Here's the thing, though, right? And I'll interject here because, and it's just maybe it's a semantical problem here of just the word wrong. Because she has experience, not in Formula One, but she's one of the greatest female race drivers there is, right? In like IndyCar and NASCAR and all of that nonsense. But it's having knowledge. That's what you need. You don't need experience, right? Someone who hasn't ever touched Formula One can come in if they have knowledge, if they understand the teams and the mechanics and the principles.
Because I think there are a number of fans, right? Die-hard Formula One fans that could give way more insight than Danica Patrick.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
everything she says
is
buzzwords.
bollocks. Yeah, everything she says, it's like someone that doesn't know anything about Formula One, right? And every day before she goes live, she just Googles Formula One terminology.
What should I say?
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, the Aston Martin will win the race if they have the quickest car. But I don't know, it's just nonsense.
It's like she's like Will Buxton, but less memey.
Yeah.
She just says
it's
the most bollocks,
nonsense.
ludicrous stuff ever.
I think,
and she's. I don't want to get personal attacks, but I mean, she's just annoying.
She is annoying.
She's so annoying, right? She like cuts people off and stuff. And
yeah, she's rude.
She doesn't face.
She's rude.
She doesn't face everyone. Like if everyone stood, right? They're like there's 4 of them all stood. You know, like they normally present a
little circle,
they present themselves in a little circle, facing the camera primarily, but then sort of like turning a little bit to acknowledge or whatever. She's like literally she will be parallel, right? And she'll just have her back to Jensen Button or something.
Yeah,
right.
He fucking hates her.
This is the only silver lining is we'll get more awkward moments of Jensen Button rolling his eyes after she says something dumb.
I'm worried because I think Jensen Button either he might leave. I was thinking about it, I was like, if I was in that position, I probably would just be like, okay, I'll go somewhere else. Maybe he'll go fucking. I was thinking, obviously, America would be the only option. He can go do the American presentation for it because everywhere else is a different language.
He could go to do the Australian one.
He could.
The Australian one's good. They get Mark Webber in there.
I'm not surprised.
He's like one of my favourite F1 clips.
Yeah.
When Hamilton, at Baku.
Yeah.
He does that scream. It's so good.
So I was going to say, the only thing I'd say is, because it's a bit of a popular conversation at the moment, is female pundits in male sports, right? And honestly, I know Joey Barton kicked off about it, and there's been a lot of controversy there.
Honestly, what he said, some of it a bit extreme, right?
Okay.
It's like, calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
he might have a little bit of a point.
I mean, like some of these people, and it's not just women, but most of them happen to be women that are like. I commented on it. This is before Joe Barton, and this wasn't necessarily like a specific dig at female punditry. But when I was watching the Women's World Cup, that was one of the first things I said to you. I was like, the punditry is so bad.
Yeah.
And just the presentation of it was awful.
I think a lot of it as well, I will say...
Like, talking about non-sport things in like a World Cup final.
It'll be in the World Cup final game, half-time, they didn't analyse the game.
No.
At any point. It was like, and we're voting for goal of the tournament, so, and you're like, what is happening? This is supposed to be like the pinnacle... You know, for the men's team, you would have billions of people watching, and they would just be looking at every fucking detail, but they didn't. I think to go to the motorsport thing, obviously talking about Danica Patrick, she shouldn't be in her role. That's a fact. She should. Everyone knows that.
Confirmed.
No one could argue she could.
I've never seen a single comment on TikTok defending Danica Patrick.
I think the only people that would...
Men, women alike.
I think the only people that would be people that have hung their hat on, like... women should be 50% of the team.
Yeah,
and even then you're like, okay, cool, find a different broad because she fucking sucks.
yeah.
But then
And we
you look
already
at,
have great
and this
women.
is my point. So you look at, there's two. There's Bernie. What's her name?
Bernie Collins,
Bernie
who
Collins.
everyone loves. I'm different. I have a different opinion.
I think she, and this is what we're talking about. She has the knowledge.
She
She's
has.
incredibly
So this is the thing,
smart.
and this is why I don't hate her.
Yeah, her presentation isn't great.
Yeah, her actual not personality, but her television personality.
Yeah.
I think is a good way to say it. It's
Yeah.
just not. I don't know. It doesn't click.
Exactly. She doesn't have high energy.
However,
think some of the things she says are really interesting, but she should say them right. The other side of it is Naomi Schiff, who I think her presentation is brilliant. The way she handles herself, conducts herself on camera is
questionable
great.
outfits.
Sometimes she looks great.
Sometimes no, she always
It's
looks good.
It's always a point of contention between me and my missus, because she studied fashion. She worked in fashion for a while. That every single time she's on, it will just be this huge discussion on what we think of her outfit.
But I think it's because it's like it's the fashion people versus the non-fashion people, in it, essentially.
Where I'm like, that's bollocks. And she's like,
It's the same with Lewis Hamilton when he comes in wearing like a
I'm
rug.
certain they share clothes. I've
yeah.
seen outfits before that I'm like, hang on. But she still has a bit of knowledge. She has good knowledge. But she's not just
I don't think she's ever said something and I've been like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, not at all. But like, those are the two examples. You have the presentation side you need. Bernie's the knowledge side, maybe lacking the presentation. Danica Patrick is just a fucking idiot. She doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
She's like a bobbly head, right? That has a button on like a little plate, like a toy, and you press it and she just says a random F1 thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm so
like she says stuff like, well, you've got to go real fast to win. And I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Danica.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But I don't know what Jensen Button will do. I'm worried he'll get fired.
The only thing I'd ask, right, is just to make it a little bit more bearable, because I've never heard it before, right, before Danica Patrick joined. And then since I've heard other Americans say it as well. But what the hell is a straightaway?
What's a straightaway?
That's what she calls the straight.
Does she? I don't listen to her at
She
all
says
now.
the straightaway.
It's annoying.
That is annoying. Come on.
That's a proper Americanism then, I guess.
Yeah,
is it an
man.
Americanism?
It is it's an Americanism. Straight away.
The only American thing I was thinking about that does make sense. There's one that they get right, because usually everyone will call something like a pavement, right? And then they're like sidewalk because they need it to be simpler. Sorry, American listeners, it's just fact. But I can't argue with Z and Z.
No, you're wrong.
Right, okay, this may be this may be longer than it needs to be. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So far is brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Where am I? L, M, N, O, P. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y.
And Z.
Insane.
It's not.
And if it was the other way around, we would be like, that is ridiculous.
No, it's Z.
Why wouldn't it be Z?
Why would it be Z?
Because it rhymes with the whole little alphabet.
It's a zebra, isn't it? It's not a zebra. You wouldn't say zebra, would you? As a British person.
I wouldn't. Yeah, but a lot of letters sound
Case closed.
A lot of letters sound different on their own.
It's a zorb, not a zorb.
I don't know. Should we listen to music?
Are we going to show the music? Is that how haven't you got a TikTok you sent?
Yeah, we watched it. It was the stupid Elvis Presley.
Is that what
one.
it was?
Yeah. I didn't have anything else. I had one that came up that seemed interesting, and then I looked into it and I was like, oh, I think this might be nonsense, so I couldn't verify it.
Britney Spears is has firmly said she will never come back to the music industry.
Okay.
Do you believe that?
I mean, I wasn't waiting for the return, to be completely honest.
No,
that's fine.
Apparently,
she needs to look after herself.
All she's doing, which I would argue is coming back to the music industry, is ghostwriting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can you imagine getting a song written for you by Britney Spears?
I didn't. I wasn't. I'm not sure she wrote any of her songs.
I don't think she did, but apparently,
she wrote all of her songs.
She's written 20 songs for other people, ghostwritten.
I
think it's convenient when you say you've ghostwritten them.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it like if you're in proper journalism, is it similar to that where like when you have a source, it has to be like verified by 2 people. When you say
Yeah,
ghostwriting, does it have to be like verified by people? Like,
Well,
she
it's like,
did.
yes, she's like, yeah, I can verify it because I'm saying I did it, and the ghost
Who wrote it?
who wrote it, yeah, wrote it. What
Um,
is a ghostwriter when it comes to music as well? Like, what does she mean? Is she sat there going, okay, I want it to be like this, bleep bleep bloop bleep 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 bloop
And they're like,
bloop bleep
I-
bleep bleep
I
bleep
don't
bleep,
I
and
don't
then they
know.
write it.
I was quite interested, but as we've discussed, my laptop's fucking miles away, so I can't type it. No, never mind. I saw an interesting clip of Olivia Rodrigo, who obviously I put on for our tech test a couple weeks ago, of her showing a demo that she wrote,
Right.
and I was really impressed. I mean, it was horrible. It sounded absolutely terrible, right? To be clear, but I related to it because it was an iPhone recording of her playing like an out-of-tune guitar, writing the song. And I was like, you actually wrote that track. And it was the, good for you, you do nothing better than see, like, you know that song? It's like the most contrived pop song ever.
Well, they all are.
But she actually wrote it herself. So now she immediately had more credit. Because I was like, yeah, she showed the demo and it was her just singing into her phone.
Oh yeah, no. Even if I personally think it's bad, but they wrote it,
Yeah,
then they're already better than most people on the charts.
there's some respect there.
'Cause, we've spoken about it before. Like, God knows how many songs are getting written by AI now.
Well,
And
Yeah.
because I read an article about this, like, because there's laws happening at the moment that are getting fought, right? Between sort of making artists like make their audience aware whether a song has been written by AI or not,
yeah.
which I think is crucial. I think it has to happen. I think you should absolutely know whether the art form that you're paying for was made by a human or an AI.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I also think it drastically changes how much you can charge for it.
It's so tricky, isn't it? I don't know.
It's
I
a
don't know
weird
what to think
concept. It's a
about it.
weird concept, and I might be way off base, but I just feel like if a robot has made, if a AI, right, has made a picture for you, morally and legally, where do you stand in like charging people for that?
Yeah, it's true. It's not your work. People are doing this a lot as well. It's a big trend of like people will do AI designs and just put them on a t-shirt. Or there's YouTube channels making AI content. I
can't say. I firmly hate AI, pretty much in every aspect.
Yeah.
I'm extremely worried about where we're going, especially in the art spaces, in like music and film and like
Yeah.
everything, like stand up. Like there's an endless line of doubt and concern when it comes to AI.
I think as well, if you go back early doors, right, very early on our podcast, we did an episode where we played with AI.
Yeah, because it was a novelty. It was like
this
it was
is the
fun.
thing, right? And I was using it for like stupid means. So I wrote like ads, and we had like CubaTube or whatever it was, where it was like all of your favorite films, but Cuba Gooding Jr. It was funny stuff. But we're now at a point where it's like, oh no, this is like going too far now. Too much is happening. So it is worrying. I think they're doing the right thing of like, we need to determine what the lines are here.
Well, and that's the thing. They're scrambling at the moment, and it's not just the music industry; it's across everything. They're scrambling to get laws in place for AI because at the moment it's like the Wild West.
Yeah,
There are no laws in place really for AI. And you see it happening at the moment. Like they're still ropey, but they're getting better and better, and at some point you won't be able to see.
Yeah.
But people are getting done all the time at the moment with like AI generated celebrity like scams.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, congratulations, you've won. Like, and it's like Ed Sheeran saying it, and it's like, oh, all you got to do is do this, this, and this, and it's like at the moment, I feel like it's easier to see, but they're getting good. They're getting close.
Yeah. I do worry about it for sure. I don't know what the outcome will be. My issue is as well, like people talk about this. This is going to be maybe. It is related because it's like evolution of technology impacting people. I see the conversation constantly about self-checkouts right? And this move to self-checkouts. And the idea was they were saying, like, oh, well, if there aren't people on the tills, then there's more people on the shop. You can get more assistance, things like that.
I can tell you right now, as someone that has worked in various different like companies and retail, that ain't what happens.
No.
If you can
and that
cut your bottom line a bit more, that's all that happens.
That's what's happening. So they do that, but then there's a move, not a movement, but there's an issue now where everyone's just like, okay, cool. They use the self-checkout and they'll just steal everything, right? They'll just be like, I bought 15 grapes and they've got 2 baskets full, whatever it might be. And now the companies are like, oh, what? Like, they're losing tens of millions, I think is the number. But then the question is, well, are they saving that in employee costs? Because they've all let go of thousands of employees.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing that's not happening, right? The cost of produce isn't coming down.
No, not at all.
Like, it's going up.
Not at all.
It's going up. So, it's a weird situation because AI is costing people jobs, right?
Yeah.
It's increasing profit massively for corporations, right? And the cost of living just keeps getting higher, baby.
Yeah.
Like, where does it end?
I think that's the issue. The where's it end as well? Of like, okay, so what if your music and your TV and your film and your art on your walls is just a machine that's printing it all out? Like, what are we doing here? And obviously we've just launched our writing website, and in doing that, all of the platforms at a click of a button, they have AI articles that you can write. Now, one thing I'll say is I've clicked it because I was like, is this going to just... a lot of that you have to pay for, so I was quite interested that you can get that for free. I click a button and it generates an article. Now, I will say all of the articles are soulless. They're so like... It's like... If I was a teacher, I'd be like, you're trying too hard. Do you know what I mean? And there's no... For me, the goal of an article, you should read it and you should feel the emotion I'm trying to portray. That's what a good article should do. You might disagree with it. Fucking plenty of people did with the one I published last night. Because I did one about... the idea was the top 5 Coldplay songs that you've never heard. The issue is I shared it in Coldplay communities, and they're all like, well, we know all of these songs because we're Coldplay
why did you share it in Coldplay?
Well, because they all fucking engaged with it, and they all came over to the site. And they all checked out loads of the articles on there, so it worked. But my point is that you're supposed to feel
thumbs
it.
down button on the article. It's still a click, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Google Ads saw you on my site pressing shit. That's all it saw. But no, you want to feel something, and I think a lot of it you're not. But it's like, yeah, at what point? And people go, okay, cool. So you don't have to have checkout staff now. But it's like, yeah, but thousands of people are checkout staff. That's what they do. That's their job. Why are we letting that just go? And also, it then means that the experience for the consumer is a nightmare. I fucking hate self-checkouts.
Do you know what I hate, right? In a world where I'm on CCTV as soon as I walk into a store, right?
Yeah.
I'm on CCTV everywhere around the store, right? Why is there a CCTV camera right in my face as I'm checking out?
Well, it's a tactic, isn't it? Psychological tactic.
Psychological. Like, people that still don't care about the camera. Have you seen the TikToks that are going viral at the moment of people just walking into like a co-op, right, and just loading up bags of alcohol and then walking out?
I saw it happen.
It's like a trend. It's a trend that's happening now. And do you know what happens to these people? Nothing.
No.
And it's like, and don't get me wrong, right? I understand the sort of economical crisis that we're in right now, in the fact that, like, I saw a TikTok the other day, someone filming in his local co-op, and it was like £1.50 for a grab bag packet of crisps.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is insane. That is insane. That's not even just like, oh, I remember when they were 25p a bag insane. That's like, what the fuck is happening?
More importantly, though, as well, that stuff is bad. Like, you can shop smart, save a lot of money, but there's products like baby formula that's like £25 a tub now.
Yeah.
And it's like, so people that are on the edge of like financial viability won't be able to afford it.
Stuff like toothpaste and like mouthwash, right? It's like £5 now for like mouthwash and stuff. It's crazy. Like, and these are all just like normal items, like every day. And this is the thing is what people don't realize is even the saver items now are the cost of what premium items were 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Possibly.
Like a year, like in the last 2 years, the price has gone so through the roof that even the budget items
Yeah, no,
are
I do
now
agree
the
with that,
same
actually.
price as premium items were in the space of 2 years.
I quite openly have said, like, to you, I don't know on the podcast, but like we've really gone away from branded. We're not buying the best. But you are right, because thinking of it, like a can of beans we talk about, quite thing that may be like they're like 65 or 75p, which feels cheap.
But that's what
But
Heinz was.
But when you remember that it was like when you were doing that shopping, it was like 10, 15p, because that was survival. And I think this is a problem. I've been quite lucky in life. Although I've worked to get where I've wanted. I've worked hard to make sure I'm in the right position, right? That's always been important. I do consider myself lucky in the sense that in these crises, I feel it. Everyone does. But it's not like, oh, I can't eat now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas there are people that live week to week, you know, paycheck to paycheck, that are like getting strangled, getting absolutely fucking killed. And then, but I don't know. But what's the solution? Because people think it's to vote one way in an election.
No,
the whole system's
don't
fucked.
even get me started on that.
The whole system's broken.
Well, this is why you should vote Labour. Nothing will change.
No.
I'm telling you now, nothing will change. All that will happen is Labour will raise the minimum wage.
Yeah, possibly.
Like they always do.
I would say,
and it has a slight short-term benefit, right? But all that happens is, guess what? Prices go up.
I will also say the cost of living crisis is a global thing, and that is including countries that are liberal and not conservative. So it is true. If you think that the solution is to vote one way or the other, what's happened there is you're buying into there is a problem and you have the solution, which is this vote, and all of the people that want to stay in power get to stay in power, and you think that you can choose. Most of them fucking flip-flop constantly anyway, just because it's like, oh, what if I'm in this constituency, I'll be a Lib Dem MP because that's what will fucking be successful for me. They're all leeches. Anyway, should we listen to some music?
Yeah,
on a music podcast. The only issue I have, again, is my tiny little laptop screen. So we're going to listen to, what does that say up there? Sam Polwart. Sam Polwart?
I can't see that.
He's from Christchurch.
Christchurch?
Yeah. In
fairly local?
New Zealand.
Oh. No, we have a Christchurch.
Do we?
I'm sure there's a town or a county Christchurch. But then now you say it, the main Christchurch I think of it is New Zealand.
It'd be ballsy to put Christchurch and mean like in Berkshire, UK.
Well, think about it.
Thinking?
We colonised them, didn't we?
That's true.
So there might be some British names over there.
They have
Although
our flag on their
you don't
flag.
get a lot of I don't feel like there's a lot of British names in like Australia though.
Do we have a Zealand?
Do we have a Sydney?
That's Australian.
We colonised Australia.
Yeah, but I thought we were talking about
Australia
New Zealand.
exists because of the bad
Have
stuff
you
we
got
did.
a genre guess for Sam Polwart?
Sam Polwart, Christchurch.
Polwart? I don't know how to say his last
I mean,
name.
it's
which
hard.
is stupid.
It's hard not to think of some sort of
Folk?
comedy folk.
Flight of the Conchords. I think folk. I think pop folk, maybe.
Yeah.
This is. I haven't taken timestamp, so we're just going to listen to the first minute. I'm really sorry if you intentionally put a timestamp on. This is on my.
I'm on my way out, determining how to spend my time. It's time to move on. Can I leave it all behind? Gripping full fist that it's fine. Gripping full fist that it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not looking good, so why do I care? I left here a while now, just a child now. Such a nice shirt to wear, to bear the tears away.
I'll stop it there.
I think it was fine.
Fine.
I think it was good.
It
It was good.
was very interesting, wasn't it? there's a part there, the vocals were almost like when you're listening to like heavy rock songs and they have a breakdown and the vocals, like the harmonies are really tight. It was really good. I liked where it ended.
Well, and
I like where it got to in the end.
And I also like, it's our favourite thing to say, dynamic range. But I bring it up here because whenever you're doing like a bit more of a sort of chilled, folky type song, I think it is hard sometimes to get the dynamic range right.
Yeah, agreed.
Because sometimes it's like you don't really know what to do, and I think sometimes people just add stuff for the sake of adding stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was all. It all worked really well. It all fit really well. It wasn't overkill, and it was like almost kind of slowly building up to something.
It stayed interesting.
Yeah.
I think throughout. At first, I would say that it's hard to have an acoustic guitar and vocals. You're very exposed
Yes,
and
naked.
vulnerable.
You're naked.
And at that point, I was like, I wasn't sure where it was going, but I think the build-up was great. The production was really good. The recording of it was really good. So, yeah, thank you so much, Sam, for the submission. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, for sure. I think there was a part, and I don't know, maybe it's to look back on at the start. I think at the start I wasn't sure. And then like 30 seconds in, I was like, oh no, this has really got where it needed to be. And obviously, if you just started there, then that lovely dynamic journey that we went on doesn't exist. So, I don't know, maybe it's just looking at what that first part is. Possibly the vocals. I think the vocals worked great when there was loads of layers, but I don't know what else he could have done. Maybe have a different vocal style, a different timbre of your voice to make that first part work.
I do see what you mean. No, I do. I kind of see what you mean. I didn't think it was a massive issue, but then I also, thinking about it, yeah, maybe.
Fair enough. There we go. That's Sam Polwart. The next up is the PsychoCine Project. They're from a little place I like to call... I didn't write it down. So I don't know where they're from.
But we need to know where they're from.
Do you want to know where they're from?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just read this tiny little screen. Play the Knowing Where They're From music. Oh, maybe it's on their Bandcamp. Auckland, New Zealand.
Oh my god!
Jesus Christ!
Bloody the Zealanders.
Next up, Flight of the Conchords. Yeah, so they're Zealandese as well.
I always get confused of where things are in New Zealand, right? And I'm referencing because I've seen a lot of behind the scenes footage of Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Okay.
And I can't remember. Is Auckland at the top? Or is Christchurch at the top?
I don't know.
And like Auckland.
He's having a Google.
It's like in the middle.
Auckland in the North Island.
North Island.
It looks at the top. I'm not sharing my screen, which is probably for the best. There's Auckland. Where's Isengard?
I don't know. It's where they're taking the hobbits.
Yeah. Okay, so any guesses for genre? The PsychoCine? I know we had a little bit of this up. This kind of looks
the
electronic,
PsychoCine
Project
makes me
the
think.
PsychoCine?
Oh, so it's got to be either EDM or like a metal band.
Here we go. This is Screams from That Old House by the PsychoCine Project.
Take the trash by force up into the old home. The song around the next bin starts to dive and learn. You are coming with us this time. I go like a psycho high on a mushroom. Don't run to hell and live us like that. A special fucking home on the world. Home for girls. My school is on the world. I turn the windshield, staring on my blood, and we are still alive.
There we go.
I like it.
that
I've
was
got a lot to
interesting,
say
wasn't it?
about it.
He's got a lot.
First, it gives me Jeffster vibes.
Is that good? So that's a
Jeffster is
fictional
great.
band
From Chuck
from
anywhere. Any
Chuck.
Chuck fans out there?
People
But
don't watch that. People haven't seen that. But yeah,
it's a travesty, man.
I know.
It's one of the best
One of
shows
the best
ever
shows ever
made.
made. Completely agree.
It's on Amazon Prime right now.
There you go. Shout out Chuck. This episode brought to you by Chuck. It's not.
But I think because I liked it, right? I really liked it
I like
because it's
it.
like it falls into that sort of weird, unique sort of category.
Yeah.
Where it kind of doesn't sound like a lot of different things. My critique is all. It's not like creative critique. It's all mix. So I feel like for me, like everything existed in this really narrow space, right? And it kind of made it feel quite dull, even though it wasn't.
There was so much going on, but it was all in the same frequency, wasn't it?
And so I'm going to bring up our favorite word, right? But completely with the mix, the dynamic range in the mix
yeah.
was non-existent.
Yeah.
Like so, like either the lyrics need to like punch a bit higher, or like some other element as well needs to be a bit higher.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It was like a real...
Because it feels like you've got every single element of that song all exists in the same
place.
narrow corridor.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. It's good. And also I think that's from a obviously, like, neither of us are producers. So that's from a consumer angle of if you can listen and go, oh, everything just seems... There's not... The lyrics aren't sitting on the top. The bass isn't sitting on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's all right
I mean,
here.
put it this way.
I do see that.
Even listening to, like, the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you can listen to the Beatles for the first time ever, right? And you can listen to the same Beatles song for like 5 times, and every time you listen to it, you could like individually listen to a different part of the song, right? Because everything's all kind of interwoven.
Entwined?
Is interwoven a word?
I don't know.
Interwoven?
Good band name, Interwoven.
Well, it's all kind of entwined. I don't know what's
Fucking
happening, man.
hell.
They're all like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's, like you might have like the drums might be slightly higher in this part of the song, or you know the bass might be punching through here. Do you know what I mean? Like, and when you listen to the song, you can kind of listen to it and pick up different parts of the song every time. I feel like with that, even though the dynamic range creatively was like quite a bit, there's loads happening. I feel like you just listen to that song once, and if you listen to it again, you wouldn't really pick up anything extra.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked. I thought the lyrics were interesting. It was very story driven. Felt very Bowie, with that like 80s feel as well. So it was really good. I think that one thing of just like, what can we do to film more, to have
Give it a bit of texture,
a bit of layers, instead of there's so much going on for the critique to be not enough was going on. Do you know what I mean? But it all just blended into one part.
It felt a little bit like someone was recording it with an eye, like from a single source, like microphone somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I completely get you. Okay, amazing. Well, I agree with that. It's a really great submission. There's definitely some interesting points there. We have next...
But I hope you don't take that as a negative, because I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good sound. I completely agree.
It was all technical.
It's
feedback.
all mainly production side that I think needs a look at. Just to give it a bit more variety on the ears. Okay, amazing. We've got West B's Motherhood. And again, I fucking haven't put down where they're from either.
My favourite bit is knowing where they're all from, B.
Well, I assume somewhere in New Zealand by how this episode's fucking gone. But I'm just having a look
You got
now.
your VPN set in New Zealand or something?
No.
You've been watching hockey.
No, it was always Japan when I do that, to out myself a
And
bit.
it's
I don't know,
always the
that's bad to
best,
say.
because then you forget about it, right? And then when you go on YouTube and you get ads.
Yeah, and it'll
all
just be itchy
Japanese.
ban.
Yeah, they're all great adverts.
Yeah, I'm just quickly having a look. So I don't know if
Mr.
you're a
Sparkle.
filibuster here. What's your favourite Japanese brand?
I don't have one.
Oh no! Right. Who have I just ever listened to? Like the West Beast Motherhood. I just need to go through. You need to speak, me.
Oh,
help me, help you.
Mate, I should have sent this to you.
Oh.
Maybe did I send it to you? I don't know. But I saw 2 guys talking on a podcast about they were disrespecting Kings of Leon, basically.
Oh fuck!
Well, one of them was. One of them was.
Did you send it
I can't remember why it came up, right? But one of them was like, "Do you know what band is criminally underrated or something?" Maybe.
Yeah.
And it was like Kings of Leon, and then the other one was like Kings of Leon is trash, right? But then I think he did what a lot of people do with a lot of bands, not just Kings of Leon, right? Where they go, "I hate that band," right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Why?" "Oh, but the stupid like, oh, your sex is on fire," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you haven't."
You don't know the band.
Yeah, you don't know the band. That's fine, but to throw out a statement to say like, "I think this band is crap."
In my head, I saw the clip. I think I might.
I'm taking it
you,
personally because
actually.
Kings of Leon is my favorite band.
I think I went. Who are these guys to be speaking on a music podcast and not knowing? And I was like, oh no, that's actually what we do every single week.
Oh no, I'm not judging
But,
them.
No, I judge
I'm
his
just
taste
defending.
is bad.
I'm defending Kings of Leon.
His
They're my
taste
favorite
is
band,
trash.
right?
Maybe that's my next
know?
article.
I'm not claiming they're the best band
No.
because, like, I feel like this. We're talking about this before. There's a difference between what you recognise as the best band and your favourite band.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'm not sat here saying Kings of Leon are better than, I don't know,
You're like I
the
can't
Stone
think of a better
Roses,
band.
like, or like
The Beatles.
you know what I mean, Led Zeppelin. I'm not saying they're better than Led Zeppelin,
Yeah,
right? Far from it. I'm just saying they're my favourite band.
yeah. But anyway, his point. Though I agree, and this is the issue. A lot of people will judge a band on their biggest song, right? It happens with like a huge band like Coldplay is a good example. Obviously, the article I've just done of the unknown tracks. The reason why I wrote it is because I think a lot of people hear Coldplay now, for example, where they're like the biggest. They're just a commercial pop act now.
Yeah.
And don't realize that they have like I would say 4 albums that are like solid, like indie, like well written before they then just became commercial pop.
Well, it's like Arctic Monkeys, right?
Yeah,
Arctic
good example.
Monkeys will forever and always be one of my favourite bands of all time, right? I think they're crap.
Yeah.
I think they're crap. They're a crap band now.
Yeah.
But
I agree
based
with
on
that.
those 2 albums,
Now pissing
right,
people
that were
off.
just a seminal sort of period of my youth, right? And it was like a big part of like when you first start falling in love with music. It's like what music you listening to, like, you know, Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
That will always be Arctic Monkeys to me, right? But I think the last 5 albums they've released, especially the last 2 or whatever, have just been absolute nonsensical.
I wonder, is the problem that your Arctic Monkeys and your Kings of Leon, they get quite big through their indie sound, right? But then they're signed to major record labels. I wonder how much the influence is like, okay, we're playing arenas now. We could play stadiums. And like, oh, yeah, that would be cool. All you need to do is just write this. Do you know what I mean? Right. You need to think, what will a stadium like? And then that's when you get like, even like there's Kings of Leon, the album Walls by Kings of Leon.
I think it's a great album.
For me though, it's the crossroads.
Yeah, for sure. They've changed.
It's the for Coldplay, it'll be Milo Xyloto. It's when they went, okay, now we're going to write for stadiums and we're going to write for radio, and then the music changes and it's nothing like what they've written before because they're going, well, actually, we're going to take this next step, and then that's where you get the disengage for fans.
There is also
Arctic Monkeys is absolutely that, because after the second album, the third album was okay, but every single step they then take just gets more and more commercial.
But then there is also an element, right, of when you first start out as a band, right, no one knows you, right? You're writing music that appeals to you and only you.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Also, you're writing music normally about what's happening in your life now, right? So take Kings of Leon, for example. When they first started writing music, they were like rednecks
Yeah.
that just lived
God,
in
that's
Nashville, Tennessee, right? Who lived in like the epitome redneck family. Just imagine what a redneck family is that you've seen every stereotype of. That's Kings of Leon's upbringing.
Yeah.
Right? So they're writing songs about leaving a redneck town or whatever, right? And then they become famous, and they're like rock stars touring the planet. They start writing about drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Do you know what I mean, right? And then they like fast forward, they're all married, they've got kids, they're all settling down, they're like sober or whatever.
Yeah, true.
Right? Now they're writing songs about that appeals to their life. So it's like these bands grow up, they start writing music about different things, and they like completely change their outlook. But then also, they go from writing songs that appeal just to them to then go,
What will the fans?
Christ,
want to
this
hear?
studio is saying that we could potentially make this amount of money,
Yeah,
but
true.
we need songs that are a bit more
Yeah.
commercial.
No, it-
like it's just
100%.
it's a natural progression of a band.
Also, like there are bands. I'm trying to think of a good example here.
I will also think as well, like Sex on Fire specifically, I'm pretty sure that came about because Caleb Followill injured his
Yeah,
injured his arm, he's broken his arm or wrist or something. So he had very limited movement, which is when he came up with boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
well, crushed it. Didn't he? It's funny, and then they hate that song now. They're like, "This is the worst song we have."
Yeah, even they hate performing the song.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I was trying to think. So I think an example may be someone like Joe Purdy, really obscure artist, but he writes like 57 albums or something, but he doesn't change, right? And it means that you can get kind of fatigued. You'll find someone, you'll really enjoy it, but then like 4, 5, 6 albums in, even you're like, this just feels like the same stuff. Every artist needs to evolve. They need to do something else. Otherwise, they'll just be bored. What's the point of just churning out the same thing over and over again? There's not a challenge there. So, you know, I always have to respect an artist going on a journey. Like Arctic Monkeys, they became not for me. They did, you know, that indie, oh, I'm a kid with a guitar and a band too, so I could do that. That's not who they were calling for then. You know, those first 2 albums, I think, are 2 of the best albums ever made. That's a mental
Yeah, if I was
statement.
putting them on a top 10 albums list, they're on it. I think.
One of them makes it for sure. But
Whatever
yeah, they're
people
both.
say I am. is
Yeah,
what I'm
I
not.
think that's flawless.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That
let's.
was a tangent.
This is a freaking yeah.
Where they're from, New Zealand?
Poor
I was
guys.
only filling time.
The poor guys at Westby's Motherhood are like, are they gonna play our song? What is this show?
You told me to filibuster.
Lochinver.
Where?
Scotland.
Scotland.
One of the locks.
Lochinver.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not Lochinver.
No, but they're in a town near Lochinver called Lochinver.
What?
I shit you not. Here they
This
are.
is like the whole New York situation.
Yeah, basically, it's a hell of a town. What do you think they're going to be?
Scottish.
Bagpipes.
Yeah, bloody
Red Hot Chili
proclaimers. I don't know. Metal.
We're instrumental.
Fully instrumental.
I think so. I can do the nudges.
And it gave a nice little teaser as to what's coming.
did.
No, I think it was good. It's good. Do you know what we don't get a lot of?
Instrumental?
No, I mean specifically.
Wah guitar?
Yeah, man, a
A
little
wah-wah.
cheeky little crybaby.
Yeah.
There's a stab in the dark. I'm guessing. I was like, maybe they're using a crybaby, and we're like,
How
he
do
knows
you
his
know?
stuff.
Yeah. There are a few out there. other pedals are available. Yeah, it sounded really good. Production's really good. There's a little the little guitar riff at the start. I got a little bored of, and then it stopped. So
Yeah, no,
I think he realised.
yeah,
this
because
needed
I
to
had the
change.
same thing because I was about to say the lyrics should have come in here now before I knew it was instrumental, but yeah, it changed anyway, so it's not a problem. But it was good. I mean, it's like I don't listen to a lot of like just instrumental stuff, but one band that not a lot of people will know of, and I love them so much, is
The Proclaimers.
no, If Trees Could Talk.
I don't know who that is.
Exactly. but they're a phenomenal instrumental band. And it kind of it wasn't like that at all. I'm not drawing it as a comparison, but it had the same sort of tenets to it, if that makes any sense. But this was a kind of a bit more jazzy, or like a bit more.
I thought it was like
but it
watching
was good. It was
like a
interesting.
80s cop show at the start. You know what I mean? Like a little intro, which can only be good, can't it? That's good stuff. Yeah, we don't get a lot of instrumentals, and I would say a few of the ones we've had have been really bad, and that wasn't really bad. So good stuff.
No, I liked it. Like it's like stuff like that. Like especially if it's like a long song and they're all kind of fairly like woven in. Because like put it this way, I use If Trees Could Talk. They're a great, phenomenal instrumental band. And it's almost kind of like heavy rock, sort of like anthem type sort of
Interesting
genre, but really, but the ebbs and flows. So it's not like just heavy rock or whatever.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal music to just chuck on if you're like, I don't know, gaming, like studying, doing whatever, editing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff. And I feel like that would be the same. That would be like
Bit of
great background gaming music or whatever.
I wonder if that's what people aim for with instrumental music.
Well,
Well,
because it's a weird thing because it's because I feel like the only other time I would listen to it is maybe going for a run or maybe on a long drive, maybe.
Yeah.
But then even with a drive, I would say it's
I
probably
wouldn't for a
rare.
drive. 'Cause
But
I feel
for
like
like
it would like
it's stuff like a
chow me out too
run.
much.
If I was going for a run, like stuff like that, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, there's 3 submissions. I don't think we need to spin the wheel this week, do we? Anything else? I feel like I had something else. I don't know. I briefly mentioned, obviously, that I've done a ton of work on the IAAS music website. I've learnt this week how goddamn hard it is to make a website because everything is just impossible, basically. But if you go to IAASmusic.com, we've now launched a little review site and also articles here. So that's the one I mentioned earlier. But we have Artist of the Year. Please do check it out. Also, if you go on, you can submit music too. So you can go on there, let us know if you have a release that you want a review for, an album, or if you don't, but you just like fucking check out my page and shout me out, then fill this out and someone...
Or if you want to send us your hate mail.
Well, yeah, I'm working on comments at the moment on the articles, right? So at the bottom, you can currently leave a comment. But the problem is, it at the moment is just very broken. So you need to register. It's
We don't want to make people register for comments.
This
do
is
we?
the point. I'm trying
Or
to
do
work
we?
it out. No, we do
Or
because
do we?
if it's anonymous, then that's just
Yeah,
wild.
that's like leaving the doors open.
And the first one I did, I got it working, but it was like fully anonymous. I'm like, I don't want to hear what someone without a face has to say. So we'll have it that you can register, and it will just be to comment on the articles. Maybe submissions will go that way as well. But at the moment, just check it out. If you want your band, if you want your songs reviewed, go onto the website and just let us know. Let us know what you think. We'll check it out. It's not just me. We actually have a team of writers now. From next week, we have a team of writers. And the main benefit is there's a lot of submissions we're getting that are really good. They're just not the genre I listen to, so I'm like, I'm not the person for this. So yeah, we've got a few other people that are going to be writing.
Be diversified.
To diversify, to have a more fair review. But yeah, really excited about it. So let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, let me know as well. A few people have pointed out little issues with the website or things that I could implement. That's that. Anything else? You want to say hi to anyone?
Hi, anyone.
Shout out the guy that pointed out this lamp was upside down. I think that's been there for literally years. So I turned it around and had to dust the other side of it. But turned it the right way round now. You are right. It was. It feels close to not mattering, but they are right that it was upside down. So there we go.
Well, you say it's close to not mattering. The light was facing down.
Yeah, that's true. How long has it been like that? Since
But I've never seen the light on, to be honest.
We'll see you next week. We've got a big surprise next week. I don't know. I thought
We got to make something up now.
We got to do something.
We're coming on bold.
And I have a ponytail. Right, see you later. Bye.